But, you know, sometimes that's magic. Greetings, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Glad that you are here. Today's nonsense is back in Historic for some collected company stuff. And, you know, we've seen a lot of ninjas and things like that come out, but, you know, got me thinking. We haven't done enough with rogues, I don't think. Not yet. Well, what kind of rogues? Well, specifically, Oona's Blackguard. I think this card is sick. Each other rogue creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. And whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. So, we're actually trying to get Oona's Blackguard to do some work for us, specifically around the idea of Changeling Outcast. This is also a rogue, and can't block and can't be blocked, right? So, hopefully, we can get down either Oona's Blackguard or Metallic Mimic, and just, then get down these other rogue creatures with some evasion, you know, menace, some flying, stuff like that, and get counters on them, just make our opponent discard a bunch of stuff, right? Similarly, we are also just kind of running a little bit of a good stuff plan. Our Drana does put counters on the entire attacking team whenever it deals combat damage to a player. So it can get counters on creatures that came down before these things. But we also are running Scavenging Ooze. There's lots of graveyard decks in the format, so being able to exile creatures, but also put one counters on is really nice. We're running Antique Collector to protect us against some board sweeper stuff, but also can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less, means it's got a little bit of evasion itself. And kind of nice there. Last but not least is Grizzled Huntmaster, allowing us to go and get things out of our sideboard. That's where the last Oona's Blackguard is, just kind of trying to give us a little bit of insurance against not drawing it. But we also have a few other silver bullets, like removal spells, enchantment, and artifact destruction. You know, some long game stuff, life gain stuff, you know, that sort of thing. So, let's see if it works. All right, folks, here we are up against Alucard. Good luck, Alucard. And yeah, I think we're going to hang on to this. Oh, crud. Speaker of Heavens. Not great. But, have the Eye Tyrant come on down. Voice the Blessed. Well, folks, when they've got it, they've got it. And they've always got it. So, you gotta watch out for that. Metallic Mimic on Rogue. Sure. Opponent has the Resplendent Angel. Not ideal. Opponent gets in. No blocks. Okay. Well, that's a good one. So, I guess we will Metallic Mimic on Rogue. And then Jaspera Sentinel, which is also a Rogue. Comes down as a 3/4, which is very adept at blocking Resplendent-style Angels. Okay, Johnny's Pridemate, inconvenient. Yeah. Opponent does not attack. Okay. Well, I guess we will pass and just try and collect a company. Okay. See what they get up to here. Yep. Opponent grows their Voice of the Blessed, grows their Ajani's Pridemate. Okay, well, collected company. Oh boy, interesting. Yeah. I think those are the ones. It's possible I was supposed to get the unblockable one. Okay. Can we not? Oh. And the search. So do we get Oona's Blackguard then? I think so. Okay. So Oona's Blackguard, come on down. Get some counters. Combat. Drana get in. Opponent takes it, puts counters on the team. Our bluff officially not called, folks. And our opponent is in a bit of a spot now. As long as they can't grow the Voice of the Blessed too much, which we're kind of afraid they might. So, we'll see. All right. Oh, boy, this is a good one. Next, combat. Get in with these two. Oh, boy. Well, we're doing it. Another collected company. Into... Yeah, all of these are good. But I think it's going to be like that. I'm going to mill over some cards. Discard some cards. Put counters on all the attackers. Yeah. Yep. And discard the rest of those cards. All right. And the opponent's scooping them up. Oh, boy, folks. Oona's Blackguard. I love it. GG, opponent, GG. All right, folks. Here we are up against Red Protoss. And, you know, I'm going to keep this. And we're going to hope it pays out. These changelings are really exciting for me. We'll see. Oh, boy, that's a really good one here. Okay, Oona's Blackguard, come on down. Changeling, get in. This one gets a counter. No. No, 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 no. I mean, they're probably going to take the Antique Collector as my guess because they probably have board sweepers, and the Antique Collector makes the board sweepers much worse. Oh, they take the Drana. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay. Well, that's something. On Rogue. And Changeling Outcast comes down. Our opponent takes a pair of the damages. No Foretell, so unless they have... They could have that stupid Divine Purge, which would be not great, but without that, they can't sweep the board. So they don't have that. Hey, that's kind of a good one. Opponent now has to discard. It's an Ashiok Nightmare Muse that goes away. Oath of Kaya coming down and hitting Changeling Outcast. I'm going to gain some life, sure. Well, Thieves Guild Enforcer, come on down. Get some counters. Mill over some cards from our opponent. And we're going to Drana right now. Yeah, trying to hope to prompt that scoop. It does happen. GG, opponent, GG. Got him. Got him. GG, opponent, GG. All right, folks. Yeah, I think we can keep this. Going to start on Jaspera Sentinel. Lead our opponent to believe we are an elf deck. We are not. We are absolutely not. Opponent does Unholy Heat the Jaspera Sentinel. Doesn't want the elf deck to get too far in advance or too far ahead of them. This is acceptable. Reckoner, Bankbuster. Okay, well, we're going to Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Get an NRG. And our opponent is suddenly like, wait, what? Yep. It's true, opponent. It is true. Okay, so combat. Attack. Give ourselves an energy here. Opponent just takes it. All right. Grizzled Huntmaster. Do you have a counter spell, opponent? Just going to reckon up some bank busting. Glint-Sleeve Siphoner goes away. And the search. We are going after. I think it's just an Oona's Blackguard here, but maybe it's supposed to be the Rankle. I mean, in fairness, maybe it's supposed to be the Hollowhenge Wrangler, just to give us some long game, you know? But I think we're going to do the Oona's Blackguard anyway. Stick with the theme, or stick with the plan, I should say. Opponent busting the bank. Okay. Fandrew. Thinking about things, this is kind of a lot of damage, though, folks. Our opponent, you know, does not yet have Delirium. Okay, they do run out Anger of the Gods, which is really, really bad for us. But kind of okay, because unless they have 2 of them, you know, that's very, very good against us, right? Okay, so let's... Interesting. Alright. We're gonna run out the Drana here. They don't have Delirium, remember, you know? They're pretty close now. They have an instant and a sorcery, and they can have an artifact in the bin anytime they want. But this is a very, very dangerous creature that they feel like they need to get rid of, and they do, right? But it doesn't leave us as open to things like Anger of the Gods. You know, we're still pretty resilient there. Opponent has a tapped Spire Bluff Canal. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get in. It grows. Alright, well. Oona's Blackguard. Changeling Outcast. And we're not going to Boseiju here. We're, you know, gonna hold on to it for interaction. Then, if they don't do anything, we might just Hive the Eye Tyrant activated, get in real good next turn. But this is an untapped land anyway, so that's an okay thing to wait on. Just going to see what our opponent gets up to over there. As it is, like, an Anger of the Gods stinks. We would be pretty sad about that, for them to have another one. But it's not the end of the world, because our Drana would survive. You know, our Hive the Eye Tyrant is still here. They are down to 14, which, you know, I mean, that stinks. We're pretty upset about that. Gonna send back our Drana. Okay. I guess we're going to destroy that, then. While we can. Our opponent does get a land, but I think this card would be problematic for us to try and finish the game, you know? Opponent shocks in the Steam Vents. Well, fine. We get in. Going to eat the enchantment. Opponent. This is a 2-turn clock. Our opponent would have to discard a card. Presumably they have some kind of interaction here. I don't think they would have shocked in if they didn't have at least Unholy Heat or something like that. You know, they want to draw a card with the Reckon or Bankbuster, but they, you know, they almost certainly have something. Okay, it's Prismari Command. All right, that makes sense. It still takes 4, though. It doesn't have to discard. We would have preferred them have to discard. But it is what it is. Opponent sacrificing their Soul Guide Lantern. That does give them Delirium, I believe. Artifact, instant, sorcery. No, does not. We got that enchantment, so... Alright, opponent sacrifices the Fabled Passage. Goes after an island. Niv-Mizzet Perun. Wow. Was not expecting that. This stinks. Yep, Niv-Mizzet Perun going to be able to kill our Oona's Blackguard and be able to block our Hive of the Eye Tyrant. And we draw... Not Collected Company. That's the only card that saves us there, I think. And it wouldn't even necessarily just save us, but it would have given us a shot. We are now very dead, I believe. Oh my gosh. Alright. Yep. That is frustrating, folks. They had exactly what they needed, but, you know, sometimes that's magic. That's what happens. Sometimes they draw what they need, and you don't. Good game. Good game. Alright, folks. Here we are up against the Last Shaven Unicorn. Oh, my goodness. It's the Last Shaven Unicorn. Alright, we're going to hang on to it. Start on a Blooming Marsh. And to Jaspera Sentinel. And... probably Scavenging Ooze. Opponent shocks. Goes Changeling Outcast. Wait a darn minute, folks. Our opponent, also using changelings. Holy crap. I assume this is just rogues, though. I mean, you know. That being able to pick up an unblockable creature is kind of what rogues wants to do, you know? Yeah. Okay. You got it. Okay. And another Changeling Outcast, sure. Hey. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, let's just Oona's Blackguard. Get in. This way, our collected company can be a lot more efficacious, and probably we'll just do that during combat next turn. Praying, of course, our opponent doesn't have too much disruption. They just deal the damage. Discards an island. Alright. Well, combat. Darn it, I goofed. We were supposed to play the land first. This is a huge pun, I think. Because now we've got to hold the Scavenging Ooze back. Yeah. Yeah, this is a bummer. I don't think we can go for the collected company right now. They clearly have counter magic, so we're just gonna hang on. I mean, they could have a kill spell too, you know, who knows, but we would rather respond to the kill spell then. Okay. And just hang on. Opponent trying to decide what to do with their mana. They decide not to tap out. Probably wise. Ornithopter comes down. Sure. And an island. Alright, well. We'll block. Opponent going to Infernal Grasp. It happens. And going to Ninjutsu. Probably thinking about counter magic is my best guess, but they also want to... Okay, yeah, I was going to say, they probably want to take advantage of the tempo as well, and they don't really want to lose their Moon Circuit Hacker, you know? So, opponent getting to Scry goes... Don't know yet. Opponent, good lord. Goes bottom. Okay. Alright. And end of the turn, we go for Collected Company. Do you have the Spell Pierce? Do you have the Spell Pierce? Last Shaven Unicorn. I think if they had the Spell Pierce, they would have just jammed it. You know? They might have Fatal Push, maybe. And they're thinking... Oh, no, my gosh, they do have it? What a jerk. What a jerk. Could have just jammed it, obviously, but elected to hold on to it for, you know, just, I don't know. Who knows why? Alright, well, I guess Metallic Mimic on Rogue. And Jaspera Sentinel coming down as a 3/4. Our opponent, Fabled Passage, Swamp, does have the Fatal Push as well, so our opponent just has everything they could ever ask for. A little salty about that. A little salty about that. Alright, and the Fading Hope. Well, that's fine, folks. Ours is coming next. You got it. They're now empty-handed. So our opponent can loot directly into the bin, which is probably not a great idea. Okay. Metallic Mimic on Rogue. And we are just going to run out the Nighthawk Scavenger because it changes the racing math quite a bit. And sure enough, Last Shaven Unicorn, scooping them up. I'm not going to lie, folks. Not going to lie. Kind of serves them right. They could have just snapped off the Spell Pierce there, because they were blowing us out hard and they knew it. It's just BM. That's okay. That's okay. GG. GG. All right, folks. We are back. We are back. And what do we learn? Well, honestly, I think the deck did fine. We played 8 games. We won 4. We lost 4. So it was fine. Admittedly, you know, we did have at least two of those matchups I felt like we just got extraordinarily unlucky on. You know, almost inexcusably unlucky. And by the end, I was a little bit tilted, I think, because of those. But I think there is some culpability in the deck as well. I think it's possible we need to go a little more all in on the rogue thing if we want to take advantage. All right, so these are also up there. Because shapeshifter, also rogues, right? So we don't have that many non-rogues. And of course, this putting 1/1 counters on things is kind of some insulation, and then this goes and gets us rogue. But I think it's quite possible maybe the Grizzled Huntmasters just aren't necessary. Maybe we're supposed to be running some like Murderous Rider or something, but this is probably just supposed to be in the main, just so we can more efficaciously collect a company into the extra Oona's Blackguard sort of thing, you know. The antique collectors were pretty okay. Admittedly, they didn't really ever get a chance to do what we asked them to do. The decks that we ran into that had board sweepers also just had hand disruption, you know, Thought Seizes or Inquisitions or whatever, and took our antique collectors out of our hand. They had to. So there's something to be said for that, but I don't know. It was a little bit of a bummer, right? So other things you might do, potentially we could run maybe some more Boseiju Who Endures or something just for more artifact and enchantment destruction. And then maybe we wouldn't need to have some of this extra silver bullet stuff. It's also possible we want all 4 Jaspera Sentinel. It is notably a rogue, folks, so that is relevant here. But accelerating into our collected company is going to be one of our better turns, you know, so maybe we could consider doing some of that too. The Scavenging Ooze feels like a flex slot, but I'm not sure it is. As a matter of fact, I think we might need some more Graveyard Hate. Our losses were to 2 different style Reanimate decks, and then a blue-red control deck, but it was using Delirium as a primary theme, both for their, because it was DRC and Delver of Secrets and the dragon pet that grows with every instant and sorcery. So they were obviously using all the Delirium stuff as well. So if anything, of our losses, we just didn't get our Graveyard Hate that we needed. So if anything, maybe we need more Graveyard Hate. So we might consider looking into that as well. It's also possible maybe this is just not a great time for Thieves Guild Enforcer. With as much graveyard interaction as there is, maybe just milling our opponent is actively helping them in some percentage of matchups. And in fact, the one graveyard matchup we lost to, the one reanimate match, it was all Thieves Guild Enforcer doing their work for them. And sure enough, they just reanimated on turn 3 and we lost. So, or on turn 4 and we lost. So, yeah. You know, maybe that's true as well. That said, it was a lot of fun, so I wouldn't necessarily discourage you from crafting it, but I would say maybe, you know, go in with a plan before spending all your wild cards, because I don't think 50% win rate is going to be good enough to justify crafting at this point. But either way, it was fun. So without further ado, folks, you folks have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all next time.